What's up, everybody? We are back with another recap video. Today is week 3 recap. It was another great week of football. Very, very happy so far that football is continuing to go. So I don't know though if you're keeping up with the kind of the football news, the Titans and Titans and the Vikings had some cases, so this is kind of the first hurdle that the NFL is going to have to deal with. Hopefully, the Steelers game and other games don't get canceled, but we'll see. We'll see, but fingers crossed. It's going well. Week 3 finished up, so we're almost a quarter of the way through the season, which is crazy to think. But let's jump right into this thing and get through some of these recaps. So first and foremost, last week I was 14-2 on my picks. Sneak peek, this week wasn't as hot. I'll kind of go go game by game and say if I was right or wrong, and at the end I'll sum up the total. So stay tuned. But first and foremost, the first game of the week is the Thursday night football game, the Dolphins versus Jags. This was kind of your typical Thursday night game. It was pretty bad, but it was differently bad. It was a blowout, which is shocking. I picked the Jags. I was very, very wrong on this. The two biggest takeaways, or I guess there's 3 takeaways, is Gaskins and Robinson. You can see Gaskins was the Dolphins' rushing leader with 66. That's not terribly impressive, but he's a really good catcher as well. And then James Robinson's the Jags running back, was their leading receiver with 83. I know Chark was out, but still, both these teams have running backs that they may not be elite, but we've seen you don't need an elite running back anymore. And they can be guys that continue through their rebuild. So that was kind of my 2 biggest takes. The third one was funny because like Dolphins Twitter, like halfway through the third quarter, were like, "Where's Tua?" Because they were blowing them out. And I don't know if we'll honestly get Tua, even if the Dolphins are bad and Ryan Fitzpatrick plays bad. I don't think we're going to see Tua this year. I could be wrong, but I think the Dolphins are comfortable with just riding out Ryan Fitzpatrick, letting Tua get comfortable with the offense. But we'll see. But those are kind of like the 2 main takeaways were from the actual play, and then the other one was just Twitter going crazy about they wanted to see Tua Tagovailoa, but unfortunately they didn't get to. So, like I said, 0-1 right there. I did pick the Jags. Next game is the Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. I picked Atlanta, so starting off ice cold with 0-2. Atlanta had them. I think, honestly, against Atlanta, you want to be losing at like third, in the third, at halftime or in the third quarter, because they're going to blow it. I don't know what is wrong, but they're terrible with leads. Again, they were beating, I think it was 26-10 at one point. The Bears did go with Foles, and he was already announced the starter for next week. I think that's the last we see of Trubisky. I can't imagine we see more of Trubisky. Foles had a much better connection with Allen Robinson. You can see right here, AR-15 had 123 yards. Finally, he's playing well because he has a competent quarterback throwing to him. So I think, and I say competent, Nick Foles is not elite, but he's better than Mitchell Trubisky. So that's my takeaway from that one for the Bears. Trubisky's not the answer. They need to get over it and move on. And for the Atlanta Falcons, their defense is horrible. And if they have a lead, if you're an Atlanta fan, I'd be worried anytime I had a lead in a game. It's not good. Next game was a really, really good one. The Los Angeles Rams at the Buffalo Bills. I picked the Bills, so we're rebounding a bit, 1-2. This game, so the Bills it was looking like a blowout for the Bills. Rams come back and take the lead 32-28, if I can do my math correctly. Yeah, and then the Bills, with 15 seconds left, score a game-winning touchdown. It was a crazy game. It was a good game after it looked like it was going to be a blowout. So kind of from halftime on, it was a really good game. both these teams are kind of in the same boat, in my opinion. They're really good. I don't know if they're that next level just yet. You could kind of see it from both of them. The Bills, Josh Allen, had another really, really great game. He had a couple of mistakes, but he looks so much better. Jared Goff also looks a lot better. The Rams also with Darrell Henderson might have found a running back, which is a huge plus. Cooper Kupp balled out. You can see he had 107. For the Bills, it's just it. Diggs is having such an impact on their offense. They're just playing and scheming a lot more things because they have Diggs, and you can see that Josh Allen is a lot more comfortable. Their defense has got to play better. I thought their defense was one of the better ones in the league, and at least this week they didn't really play like it in the second half. They need some pass rush juice, but they're both these teams are good. I don't know if they're great. It's kind of how I walked away from this one. Next is Washington, the football team, at the Cleveland Browns. Picked the Cleveland Browns, so we're back to 2-2. We're back to even. Yeah, I don't know. Haskins, takeaway from this game is Haskins is not the answer. I don't see it. He does not impress me at all watching these games. I know he has almost nothing besides Terry McLaurin, who you can see had 83 yards receiving. I don't know. I feel like if you're on a bad team, you can't be like a Darnold. You need to be like Joe Burrow, where we'll get into the Bengals a little bit. Joe Burrow shows you, like, you can see Joe Burrow is good. Just around him is bad. Like, you can see that. With Darnold and with Haskins, you can't. And I'll go a little bit more into that with the New York Jets. You have no idea, and I feel like that's a red flag. If they can't at least elevate slightly their components around him, their offensive parts around him, I don't know. I don't know if you're the answer. I came away from this that Haskins is not. Cleveland, they just beat up on a bad team. The football team is not very good against the run. They're really good against the pass, and Cleveland just ran all over him. I don't know. They're not too much too much to say for Cleveland. I know they're back to 500, but the two teams that they beat are probably top 5 picks in the upcoming draft. So I don't know. I don't know what you take away from that. In New England and the Las Vegas Raiders, the next one. I did pick the Patriots, so 3-2 now. Oh wait, I skipped, but sneak peek, I picked the Patriots. So the Minnesota Vikings, Tennessee Titans. I picked the Tennessee Titans on this, so also 3-2. So we'll actually go to 4-2 with that New England Patriots game. The Titans were losing. Like they were kind of getting handed to them. The Vikings were doing whatever they wanted to do on offense, and then the Vikings kind of turned into the 2020 Vikings and sucked. So their offense, I'll give them credit, looked a lot better. Their defense is still one of the worst in the league. Tennessee, they did not start off hot, but they slowly started to get it rolling. They're a pretty good team. If they can get both sides of the ball kind of in sync, I feel like one side is playing really well and the other side's playing okay, and then it's flip-flopped. So if they can get their team in sync, they're a pretty good team. Steelers actually play them next week, so watch the preview video for that. But yeah, I did pick the Tennessee Titans, and this was a very close game, which was kind of shocking. The New England Patriots now at the Las Vegas Raiders. I did pick the Patriots, like I said, 4-2 on this one, or so 4-2 on this week so far. The Patriots just looked like the better team, kind of from start. Basically, after the first quarter, the Raiders were moving the ball pretty effectively through the first quarter, and then the Patriots kind of figured them out, made some adjustments, and they just looked like the better team. That's kind of how I came away from that one. The Raiders are, yes, they were 2-0. They're not I wouldn't say they're fraud. They're going to be a solid team. I'd give them around 8-8. But the Patriots, you can tell they're that next step. They're higher than an average team. They're a good to, if not a great team. And I think they just showed it. They kind of dominated them in the second half of this one. Yeah, not much to say outside of that. Waller got shut down. There wasn't too many guys for the Raiders to necessarily talk about. I mean, Hunter Renfrow at 84, it was, I think 40 of it was on a big play. I don't know. They kind of looked average, which is kind of what I thought they were. 49ers, New York Giants, pick the Niners, so 5-2. There's not much to say besides the Giants are horrible. I mean, to lose to basically the practice squad San Francisco 49ers, I mean, they had third strings and guys they just picked up off, like Ziggy Ansah playing. They, yeah, I don't know. I mean, to blow out the Giants like they did, 36-9. Mullins had 343 yards passing. Like, they just torched him. Brandon Ayuk, who I said was a sleeper, I said watch out for him. Sorry, I just dropped my pencil. I said watch out for Ayuk. I think the more comfortable he gets and the more comfortable the 49ers get with him, he has potential to be a beast in that offense, and he showed it today. Giants, they're probably going to be. It's probably going to be two New York teams, first and second. That's what it's kind of looking like. They're both pretty bad. Next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Philadelphia Eagles. I picked the Eagles on this one. I'm going to give myself a loss because it was a tie. This game, I mean, it looked like neither team wanted to win. It looked like, again, Joe Burrow played very well, 312 passing yards. Tyler Boyd played well, 125. AJ Green kind of looks like a shell of himself. T. Higgins, I believe, had 2 touchdowns. The Bengals have pieces. Their O-line is just terrible. And Joe Burrow, like I was saying before, he looks great. He looks really good. You can tell the Bengals have their starting quarterback. Their team is just trash. Their defense is terrible. Their O-line is probably the worst in football. And because of that, you could kind of tell, like, neither of these teams wanted to win. The Eagles were not going for it on fourth down when they had a chance to. They were just punting, giving up. Their offense was, I don't know what they were. They were playing conservative, and it was a tie game. Like in overtime, they were playing conservative. It was just head scratching. Eagles looked like they did not want to win. The Bengals just looked like they were bad and they couldn't win the game. And it ended up in a tie. This game, like down the stretch in the fourth quarter and OT, was just like so heartbreaking to watch. It was just like I said, neither team looked like they even cared about winning, like winning it. Like the Eagles, especially, did not look like they wanted to win the game, which it's really concerning if you're an Eagles fan because you kind of had high hopes. Miles Sanders played well, which is a plus, but yeah. Next game, Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Houston Texans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Texans played the Steelers very well. They actually had the lead going to halftime. And then the Steelers did not allow a single point the entire second half. It was the whoops, I actually highlighted everything. In the first half, Deshaun was cooking our defense. We were getting bagged on deep go routes. It was not kind of like it's concerning because the defensive front for the Steelers is probably the best in the league. Their back half, especially Devin Bush in coverage, and their corners in coverage are a little shaky, and that's how you could see teams attacking this team. But the defense, I can't remember the number of pressures in sacks that we had. I can actually, let me click on the game. That would probably tell me. But the defensive line was absolutely insane. Again, I mean, Watson was running for his life, which is not surprising. He's been doing that all year. But the fact that the Steelers were just able to dominate that side of the ball was, in the second half at least, and the line of scrimmage was amazing. Yeah, they had 5 sacks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they had double-digit pressures, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, it was a great game by the defensive front. Secondary needs to improve again. Offense looked very good for the Steelers. It looked good in the first half for the Texans, but then their O-line and their lack of like an identity at wide receiver without Hopkins was really evident in the second half. And for the Steelers, they lost Deontay Johnson, and you could tell that hurt because James Washington, who played well, he played all right, but he he's not as good as Deontay Johnson, basically. So I think that if Deontay isn't playing, that could potentially be a problem against the Titans, who the Steelers end up playing next. But yeah, all in all, the Steelers offense kind of picked it up in the second half. James Conner, he runs a bit slow in my opinion. Like he had some good rushing yards. You can see 109 right here. But besides a couple of like bigger gains in our offensive line just dominating their D line, I don't know, he just seems to play, in my opinion, he plays slow. And I think the Steelers, they need some speed at running back. They need some youth. I don't know if Benny Snell is that guy. I know he's young, but he's kind of a similar runner as James Conner. So that's my concern again. I know he had 109, but my concern about the Steelers offense would be that running back position, or I guess the big play ability just in general. So that would kind of be my concern there. But I did go with the Steelers. So we are 6-3 at this point, if my math is correct. Yeah. So next game is the Indianapolis Colts or the New York Jets at Indy. There's not much to say about this one. The New York Jets are the worst team in football as of right now. They look terrible. Like I said before, Sam Darnold does not look very good. He has a couple of wow plays and a majority of what are you doing? I know there's not much around him, but yeah, the Jets they're horrible. I mean, to get blown out by the Colts, who are a good team, or I guess an average to good team, it's embarrassing. Yeah, pick the Colts here, so 7-3 on this one, or so far this week. Um, Cardinals, Carolina Panthers at the Los Angeles Chargers. I did pick the Chargers, so 8-3. Um, wait, whoops! No. I picked the Panthers, so I'm incorrect on that one. Sorry, I don't know why I just assumed that the Chargers won, and they didn't. So so um yeah, so the Panthers won. They beat the Chargers. The Chargers, Herbert. The big takeaway from there is Herbert again. He looked good. He had a little bit more questionable game or a little bit questionable decisions, but he looked good. Another 330-yard performance. I think they got to keep with him. It looks like Tyrod might be out for a little bit longer, so I think they got to keep with him. But Carolina, their offense isn't really the problem. It's their defense. And it kind of showed again. They can move the ball. Keenan Allen had 132. They can move the ball. That's not the issue. The defense is the issue. But yeah, so I was wrong on that one. So I believe that is 7-4, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. For some reason, even when I counted my wins and losses, I still I got that one right. I just completely went over it. But yeah, 7-4 if I remember and not doing my math incorrectly. So with the Tampa Bay Denver game, I picked Tampa Bay here, so 8-4. Yeah, the Buccaneers with all the Denver injuries, I'm pretty sure they have the most. I saw some stat like in terms of cap space and injuries, they have the most injuries in biggest cap loss in terms of injuries. So like a lot of their guys that are hurt are huge contributors to their team, and that it really showed. They don't look as good. They don't look that like a potentially like kind of competitive or scary team anymore. And Tampa Bay kind of took it to them. So not much to say there. Brady looked better, but yeah. Detroit and Arizona Cardinals. I picked the Cardinals on this one. So we're now 8-5. The Cardinals, they blew it. Like I mean, I know it was never like it wasn't like they were running up the score on Detroit, but you just felt like they were the better team and they just didn't come out on top. Detroit in the second half, Murray, I've been saying this all year, but like people are putting him in the MVP conversation, that being Kyler Murray. I just don't see it. Like especially as a passer, yeah, he's electric as a runner, but as a passer, that offense, besides DeAndre Hopkins, who put up 137, they don't really trust anybody else, and it's evident. And I think Detroit kind of took advantage of that, of their only going to kind of one person on offense, and they were ended up winning winning by a field goal, which is, I mean, how shocking is that? I thought for sure Cardinals were going to win, and the Lions coach Patricia was going to get fired, but hey, I was wrong. They surprised everyone, and Detroit. I don't know why I keep saying Detroit. Detroit came out with the win. So 8-5 because of that one. Seattle, I did go with the Seahawks, so we are 9-5. This was a great game, high scoring. It's kind of exactly what you thought. There's no defense. It's the Cowboys are all reliant on Dak Prescott in that offense, and so are the Seahawks on Russell Wilson. Let Russ cook. I'm all for it. The only, I guess, question mark is Chris Carson may have an MCL sprain, I believe it is. That's concerning for the Seahawks because since they are all offensive heavy, they have almost no defense. And Jamal Murray or Jamal Adams also got hurt. I don't know. Their injuries, they're worrisome. I don't think they're not season long, which is great for them, but Lockett, Metcalf looked amazing. We'll see if they can kind of keep it up offensively. But same for the Cowboys. If they're going to be in a shootout every single week, this team is going to be up and down because they almost eliminated Zeke from this game as a runner because they can only pass. Their O line, I know they're dealing with injuries. They didn't have Tyron Smith or La'el Collins, two of the best offensive tackles. Their backup center or their center got hurt. They had to put in the rookie Biotish. I don't know. The Cowboys worry me a little bit because I know a lot of people were high on them because if they can only get into shootouts, that's concerning. I mean, it's that could be a problem down the road. The Seahawks. The reason why I'm not as concerned is I think their defense can play better, and they're just than what they're playing. I don't know if the Cowboys can play any better defense. So that's kind of my takeaway is I wouldn't be shocked if both these teams play shootouts, but if the Seahawks can turn their defense around just slightly, I think they could kind of in the long run they could be the better team. Next one was also a great one was Green Bay, New Orleans. Green Bay, in my opinion, kind of locked themselves in at number 2 as the second best team in the NFL. They look really, really good. I did go Packers in this one, so that's 10-5, I believe. Yes, 10-5. So I think the Packers, like I said, I think they locked themselves in as the second best team right now. Again, none of these top teams really have great defenses. I think the NFL's kind of shifted away from that. But the offense without Devontae Adams, Allen Lazard put up 146. Their offense is rolling even without a top 5 wide receiver. That's scary. Rodgers is scary right now. I wouldn't want to play the Packers. The Saints, what concerns me about them, I know they don't have Michael Thomas, but Drew Brees, their offense is so condensed because I know Drew Brees has always been a kind of a not a dink and dunk, but always an intermediate to short range guy, but their offense is so condensed. The Packers just stopped respecting any deep ball and any deep threat, and I think that's very, very concerning if you're the Saints. I don't know if you can go off of that. Like if you can keep continuing to win games and potentially, make it far in the playoffs off of 15 and shorter routes, yards that run 15 and shorter. I don't know. I think teams will kind of play it like Green Bay and just not respect the deep ball until you throw it. And that could be a problem. I know the Saints dropped 30, so I'm not too concerned because about the offense because like they said, they do have Breeze and they do have Michael Thomas coming back. But if I was the Saints, I would be a little bit worried, and if I was a Saints fan, I'd be a little bit worried about that offense. Last game, it was the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Baltimore Ravens. I think this showed. I know I could just be a Lamar hater because I don't like the Ravens, but a lot of people were hyping up Lamar. He won the MVP. They were putting him in the same conversation as Patrick Mahomes, and this game really showed it. He's not. He's a very good quarterback. He's very exciting, but he has a lot of room to grow as a passer. There was one touchdown along the sideline to Marquise Brown. He threw it about not a yard, but a couple feet just too short, and the DB was able to make a play on it. If he throws that like a Wilson or like a Rodgers or like a Mahomes, throws it, gives it some air, lets Brown run under it, that's a walk-in touchdown. That would have completely changed the game. He missed several throws in this one. An electric runner. He is a decent passer, and that's where I think he needs to improve. And it was obvious, in my opinion, that Mahomes is significantly better. The Chiefs are the better football team. I know they almost kind of let the Ravens back in it, but the Chiefs right now are the best team in football. I had the Ravens as 2. I put Green Bay in front of them after this week. I have Baltimore just at 3, not falling too far. And then, but I don't know. I think this game kind of was a statement game for Mahomes, and he put the statement on the Ravens. The Ravens almost had no answer for him with dropping 34. Harrison Butker was missing kicks, which actually won me my fantasy league by .02. So thank you, Harrison Butker, for shaving points. But yeah, this game really showed me that the Chiefs are still the best team in football, and I would be worried about if I having to play them moving forward. And Lamar, he needs to keep improving as a passer, but again, he's a very good player. I don't want anyone thinking that I'm saying he's not a good player, but yeah. So with that said, we were 10-6 on the week, and we were 14-2 the week before. So far through 2 weeks, we're actually 24-8, which I feel like that's not bad. That's pretty good. So we're starting off to a hot start, I guess, to the season. So yeah, that's always a good plus. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it greatly. Stay tuned for more football, and fantasy talk. As always, leave your comments down below. Let me know what you guys think of your team, how they played. Make sure you like and subscribe as well, and I'll see you guys next time.